88.1, the Burg, your music central. You have just come across a truly wondrous station on your radio dial. You are now on Mount St. Classic Metal with yours truly, the Mtn Man. And on my show, I play only the most epic and awe-inspiring rock and roll of long days past. First up is The Who, Bob O'Reilly. Up first on the playlist, released back in 1980, it was their first album without their original lead singer Bon Scott and replacement Brian Johnson's debut. Know who I'm talking about yet? I sure hope so. The Australian Thunder AC/DC. This is Hell's Bells. Now, I got some quick weather updates for you guys out there. Looking outside the window, it is currently a blistering 28 degrees outside, with mostly cloudy skies you can expect, and much of the same type of weather tomorrow. And this has been your rock and roll news update. Don't go anywhere. Still got a bunch more great music coming your way, plus Lunch with Lead at the top of the hour. Known as the Albino, that was Edgar Winter and his song Frankenstein, released back in 1973 off of Undercover Man. Here on your Music Central 88.1, The Burg. Up next, the All-American Boy, Rick Derringer, Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo. You're listening to my show, Mount St. Classic Metal, with me, your host, the Mtn Man. It's about 10:30, and I hope you're having a great Saturday morning. It is beautiful outside. A sweltering 20 degrees outside, it feels like. We're gonna keep the rock coming your way. This is Peter Frampton. It's a plain shame. You are listening to my show, Mount St. Classic Metal, with me, yours truly, the Mtn Man. And I bring you the most legendary rock and roll with that twist of metal thrown in for that headbanger in all of us. Up next, we got the Thunder from Down Under, AC/DC, Shot Down in Flames. Sends shivers up your spine, doesn't it? Delane, wherever you are, very much a part of Seattle's grunge scene. We owe him a lot. But on a brighter note, you're listening to my show, Mount St. Classic Metal, and so there is means for much rejoicing. And it is that time, yet again, we've come to that point in the section of my show that I like to call Rockin' News. First of all, it's good to be back on the mic, telling all of you ravenous rockers what to look for and what to expect from the latest and greatest news stories in the rock music world.
The country rap artist, Willie Nelson Mandela. Are you a fan of his sound?
To be honest, not too much.
Wow. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie here, but I am just not a big fan of Willie Nelson Mandela and his country rap.
Wow, I guess if you put a camera and a microphone in front of anyone's face, they'll agree to just about anything.
That seems to be the case. And since we have microphones in front of our faces, that must mean anything we say is totally agreeable? I guess that makes sense.
It sure does. Just as if we were to say 88.1 The Burg is your music central, playing all the retro rock and classic metal you want to hear on this Saturday morning.
Mountain Woman, I couldn't agree more with you. And for all you Burg listeners out there, if you have a rockin' song request, we want to know about it. So give us a call down here at the station at 963-2311. That's right. Coming up after the break, we got what you want. More awesome rock and roll. So stay tuned only on your Music Central 88.1, The Burg. 88.1 The Burg. You're on the mountain with the Mtn Man.
Hi.
What can I do for you today?
I'm looking to hear Layla by Derek and the Dominoes.
That's coming up next. What's your favorite radio station?
88.1 The Burg.
You know it.
Thank you.
88.1 The Burg. And here on my show, as we get into the second hour, I like to crank it up a notch. A little bit like this.
If you can see, the numbers all go to 11.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
Looking at the clock, it is 11:57, which means it's about time for us to head back up the slopes, hit that dusty trail, and reel in spring break and have a good time doing it. Mountain Woman, I can't thank you enough for joining me on my show this morning. I hope you had a good time.
Oh, I did, and so did my family.
It sure sounded like it. And I'm sure glad that Mount St. Classic Metal appeals to the masses. Now, because it's almost the noon o'clock lunch hour, I like to finish my show with something I like to call Lunch with Lead. We got a little bit of the ocean coming at you. So you stay classy, Ellensburg, and we'll see you after spring break.
And thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, but mostly just stay classy.
And thanks for stopping by.
Stay classy, Ellensburg.